Well, hello YouTube, it's me Fortmaster, and welcome back to another Black Pants Legion reaction. This is the next video in his Battletech Mechwarrior lore series, the Atlas. Now, I'm still, fully on board with going through the entirety of this playlist. I held off a little bit because the first video didn't do that well, so, I mean, with the way it is with YouTube, you have to kind of space these duds out a little bit. So that way it doesn't hurt the rest of the channel. But yeah, I'm here now, and the Atlas, I think I've seen this one before. I think I've seen it a couple of times in, you know, the various clips and pictures that he's shown, and it looks to be one of the bigger mechs. Now, I don't know how it is size-wise compared to the AWS Awesome that I watched last time. I think that one was like, what was it, like 50 tons? If I remember correctly? But yeah, we're definitely gonna have to see, because, I mean, Atlas, strength, gotta be, you know, it's gotta be one of the heavier ones. Oh, but yeah, again, I've been hungering for this stuff, so let's actually get into this. So yeah, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day, and yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Enemy mech destroyed.
That is how big is that thing? Because I know that one has a lot of weaponry on it, doesn't it?
Takes of the Black Pants Legion, and it's time to talk Battletech. In this series, I will be exploring Battletech as a setting, talking about the lore, the wars, the people, and most importantly, the mechs. In the setting of Battletech, sooner
That's
or
an
later,
old illustration.
You're going to see an Atlas. Probably because it's the very definition of an assault mech. It's big.
Oh.
It's scary. It even has a fucking spooky skull face. I mean, what's not to love? At 100 tons even.
100?
And spouting enough armor and weaponry to crush most mechs head on or underfoot. The Atlas is an iconic representation of the assault mech class.
So 100 tons, that is a big hunk of metal.
Intimidating, bold, and angry. The Atlas was originally designed under specifications from none other than Alexander Kerensky himself.
Really?
In 2755. Probably in a bid to ensure that the Star League Defense Force maintained absolute military superiority over untrustworthy and fickle member states.
Okay, so is this one of those ones that you don't see very much anymore in the main setting because they don't make it anymore? Or has this been just constantly made since the Civil War and up to modern day?
Perhaps Kerensky saw the future coming, with the constant arms race of the Inner Sphere hastening its demise, and thus wanted to guarantee that any rebellious notions were quashed upon seeing the full might of the SLDF. Kerensky's specifications are somewhat poetic, though in truth practical as the man was himself.
Really? Yo,
Kerensky
mama,
was
really?
quoted to say that he wanted a mech as powerful as possible, as impenetrable as possible, and as ugly and foreboding as conceivable, so that fear itself will be our ally. Perhaps.
Okay, I
not
love
the
that.
words
That's
to
a
share
good.
with the general public. However, it's just the right choice of words for dedicated engineers who turn the mighty forges of war, from the Ameris Civil War to Operation Exodus, through the Succession Wars, the Clan Invasion, and the FedCom Civil
so
War,
it really
from
is
Solaris 7 to the Battle of Luthien. The Atlas has stood its ground and pounded flat all opposition.
Jeez, I mean, people in the military weapons and vehicles community nowadays, they joke about oh, how you have certain Soviet designs that are still being used today, like the T-70 and the various MiGs and stuff like that. But can you imagine designing something so well that it has continual use for hundreds of years. I mean, the only thing we have that's even comparable to that nowadays is like the M2, the 50 cal the US Army uses. Like, they've been using that same design since like World War One. In fact, what was it? I think like a few years ago, or several actually at this point, they actually found one like a machine gun in their arsenal, like, and that was in like stockpile or something that was made during the First World War and was still like almost completely original or something like that. Like, that is absolutely nuts.
Built by Defiance Industries, Independent Weaponry, Robinson Standard Battle Works, and Yori Mech Works, there is no shortage of the Atlas.
So everybody makes it, okay.
Whatever the hell you need one for. If you can afford it, that is. Oftentimes
I would imagine that a 100-ton walking, tank is not even like a close approximation, but like, you know, like a walking behemoth like that, you'd think that would cost a pretty penny to not only keep the thing running, but just to get it in the first place.
The Atlas is just the perfect weapon system for the job. That job slowly entails steamrolling a planet's defenses flat, comfortably seated in the confines of your Death's Head cockpit. That's
Death's
quite
Head,
reasonable
okay.
for 9.6 million C-bills on the open market.
And that's
Now
quite
to
a
the
lot.
technical details. Because of the widespread production of the Atlas and the sheer longevity and popularity of its design,
I'd imagine there's quite
it
a
becomes
number of
very
variants.
difficult to say with any certainty what a standard Atlas is, as almost everyone is a unique individual as its pilot.
I mean, in that case, could you not just say, show what like the very first iteration was, and say that like that's the absolute base that everything started off, and then everything kind of spread out from there?
Oftentimes an Atlas will be handed down, as they have a tendency to outlive their commanders, each in turn adding to, modifying, or fine-tuning the death machine for yet another generation of classy, stompy robot.
You know, I'm starting to get very serious Warhammer 40k vibes from this, just from the fact that you have these machines that outlive the people who command them. It's like by like probably centuries in some cases, I imagine.
Mayhem. The standard Atlas, if you can call that such a thing, is the AS-7D. A mech built around commonly available standard technologies to ensure relatively common availability of spare parts,
Oh, that's good.
upgrades, and ammunition. The AS-7D has 19 tons of Duralex heavy special armor, 20 single-stack heat sinks, a Defiance Mech Hunter AC-20 autocannon, 4 Defiance B3M medium lasers, a Thunderstroke SRM-6 launcher, a Farfire Maxi Rack LRM-20, and enough ammunition to keep it running for a fun-filled evening of carnage.
And on top of that, just 2 giant fists that it can punch things if, you know, they get too close or they somehow avoid all of that.
The Atlas is built around combat survivability at its core, keeping in mind a philosophy of redundancy. The Atlas's weapon systems are bracketed for all ranges, assuming you will want to close with and stomp your opponent. That is, after showing them their weapons are useless against you. LRMs for long range, medium lasers for intermediate range, the SRMs and autocannon for short range, and mighty battle fists for Mechwarrior fisticuffs. If anything runs out of ammunition, there are energy-based
punch 'em.
systems. If nothing else works, there are mighty fists to pummel an opponent to dirt.
I mean, at that point, you're just basically like playing a giant game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
In between, there is armor. Truly, the Atlas lives up to its principal design considerations: assault. As previously stated, there are so many variants and versions of the Atlas that it's fairly impossible to figure out the base models, as each is often as unique as the pilot that drives it, the unit that bought it, or where it was discovered. There are
Discovered,
variants
yeah.
as command mechs. There are variants built by successor houses like the Kurita-built AS-7K. There's even a Clan-Tech patchwork retrofit popular among certain mercenary units. In particular, the AS-7D, parentheses C, which puts Clan-Tech ballistic and missile weapons alongside Inner Sphere energy weapons.
Okay, I know that from what I've heard, the clans are like the successors to like the Civil War troops that like left after everything started falling apart. I can't wait to actually learn more about them because they sound absolutely nuts.
This doesn't even begin to get into the unique one-offs built by
painted by
warlords,
Skaldans,
mercenary
okay.
lords, and Solaris pilots. And further, the Atlas has spawned another mech, which was a subversion or enhanced version of the original, the Atlas II, which was technically an exclusive variant to the Starleague Defense Forces.
Oh, really?
Loyal regiments.
Oh.
Nearly forgotten by the clan invasion, only one was spotted during the 3052 Battle of Tukiyat. Which mech do you want to see next? What part of...
I know I have Mechwarrior on Steam. I think I started playing it like a long time ago, but didn't get very far into the story campaign. That might be something I do in the future on the channel. And if I ever come across an Atlas, just from everything I've heard in this video, that sounds like something that I would absolutely love and cherish, because well, it comes with like any type of like war, like armored fighting vehicle or anything like that. I am a sucker for like absolutely like stupidly heavily armored, big gunned, like heavy tank equivalents. Like you go into World of Tanks, I have the Mouse, the E100. I have every like country that I have like unlocked tanks in, I'm either have or are unlocking my way towards, you know, the tier 10 heavy tanks. And then going to World of Warships, I have so many battleships. I've spent stupid amounts of money in both of those games, and it's a lot of battleships and heavy tanks. And quite honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I haven't spent money in that game, in either of those games for, you know, almost 2 years, I would say I had a problem. I had a problem. Not anymore though. But yeah, just something like this, just stupidly heavy, stupidly powerful. Who cares if it's slow, because by the time it gets there, it's going to destroy everything, or already has destroyed everything. Oh, sounds absolutely awesome. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. So yeah, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And yeah, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.